Hi everyone, Shannon here with Mixed Media Minnesota, and today I'm back working on my Christmas journal, and I plan on decorating the front cover and sewing my signature in to the journal. I had a subscriber request that I do a video on how I sew in the signatures in the covers with the spine. And so I'm new to this. I've only done a couple, and I'm gonna attempt this video. I hope it all works out and I'm able to air this video. So as my grandma would say, this is something that sometimes requires purple words. So sorry I bumped you guys here. We're gonna give it a try. And I hope it all works out. So to start, what I have here is I have my fabric cover, and I got little fuzzies on it, and it's got a 1-inch spine, and this one is quilted, and sometimes I struggle with getting the thread through that and finding the correct hole and everything, so hopefully I don't end up with too many holes in it. So what I went ahead and did is, this is just how I do it. I don't know if there's a correct way to do this. I don't know. So I cut a 1-inch piece of chipboard, and I put that in the spine. If you can see, that's in the, down in there. I clip it in there, so I kind of center it. Like, this is 9 inches, and then there is a little bit of the ruffle. So I just center it from the top to bottom, because each one of my, the height is slightly different. So you could make this all the way, I didn't. So then I take a pen and I find the center of it, so a 1/2 inch in, and I draw a line. And then from the end to the end, I find the center on that line, and I make my center hole. And then from my center hole, I measure down. Usually I do 3 inches, make a hole, and 3 inches up and make a hole. So I have 3 for a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So then I clip that in there. So that's in there, so it's centered in there. And then what I do next is I take my signature and I clip it so that everything's in place where I want it in there. And I clip it flat when I do these ones. When I do the other journals without a spine, then I clip it when it's up. But with these ones, I do it flat. It just seems to work a little better for me. And then I just take a piece of copy paper and I fold that in half. And as you can see, it's not the same height. That's okay. I just fold it in half, and then, excuse me, I find the center of however long this is. And what I do is I just fold it in half, and I find the center of this paper, put a mark on there, and line it up with the center hole. And then I just draw a little line here and a little line here to know where my holes are. So then when I have it, they line up. They're in the same spot. So then I take my signature and I line this up in the crease where it's folded. So in this here, I make sure that it's flush, because on this one my back pages are a little bit bigger, so I make sure that's flush in there. Okay, and then I also take and I clip that in, and I just clip that in on the side somewhere up here and on the bottom. And I just get these clips at the dollar store. These ones I get at an office store, the big clips, and they're just like this, the really big ones. They work pretty well. Okay, so I have that in there. Then I always feel on there to make sure that I'm still in the center. Okay, and I am. So then I have this, it's just a piece of like foam. I think years ago, this like Bo Bunny had these, and their brads would come poked in these things. And I've had this around for 100 years, as you can see, but I just use this to poke through on it. So what I do then is I go ahead and I have my little pokey tool thing, and this is We Are Memory Keepers, and I think I found this set at Walmart, I think. Okay, so I make sure that's in the center, and then I set my little foam thing down, kind of eyeballing where the middle is. And so for this part, I hope you're able to see this, but I just kind of make sure that that's flat in there. And I do kind of pinch this together to make sure it's lined up in there. And then I just go ahead and I poke the hole, and I just kind of rub it or wiggle it around in there. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll pull it off the foam and make sure that I went through. Okay, so that's through there. Okay, and then I hold that down while I pull it out, and I do the same thing then with the other two. So I go all the way down in there and I just kind of wiggle that around, holding that template in with my fingers and pulling that out. I just don't want that to shift or move. Okay, so with the last one, again, same thing, all the way down. Hold this template in there while I pull it out. Okay, so then before I unhook it, I flip it over and I can see my holes in here. So sometimes I'll go back and, you know, if you can't see them very good, I'll just kind of remark them, if you will, with the pokey tool, just so that I can see them from the outside. Okay, so I can see those now. So I go ahead and I unclip my template, and I keep this because I use this one over and over all the time when I have a 1-inch spine. And that's why I made that out of cardstock too. Okay, so we can see the holes in there. Now if your journal, I don't have this decorated yet, but if it were directional, you'd want to make sure the top is at the top so you don't sew your signature in upside down. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and then I do the same thing with my signature. One of the important parts is to make sure this is in the crease here. So then I set that center on there. I kind of hold it, you know, a little bit. I don't want it to be folded up because I want it to be flat after, if that makes sense. And then I go ahead and make sure that center's in there, and I poke all the way through the signature. Again, I just kind of twist it and pull that out. And you should hold that template in there too so it doesn't move. I didn't that time, but okay. Again, poking on this one. Okay. And the last one, then I'm just moving it here. My hands are probably blocking this. I hope you guys can see it. This is a little bit of a challenge for me. Okay, poke that one through. I just twist it around. Okay, I should be finished with the pokey tool. I don't know what that's actually called, like awl or something. Okay, then I look and I make sure that they're all the way through and making sure they're, you know, kind of on the crease there. Okay, so I think I'm finished with this. So I'm gonna move this stuff out of my way. Bring in my cover back. Now if it were directional, double check again, triple check, and make sure it's the right direction. I already checked to make sure all my pages were the right way and not upside down. Okay, so now here's where the tricky part comes. So as I said before, I put this in flat. Okay, so I'm going to take these clips off. I am not going to remove these ones. Okay, and this copy paper piece, I'm going to move out of there. So I hold the center. Okay, I'm still holding the center here. And when I'm laying it flat, I'm just kind of holding that and pushing down. Because when I fold it, it kind of moves, if that makes sense. And now I am going to come back with this and just make sure, lightly feel, and that does still line up. That still lines up. And that one still lines up. Okay, so I have a needle here and I have waxed thread, and I just got this on Amazon. It's just waxed thread. I was using canvas thread before, and I'm still not sure which one I prefer. The canvas thread was a little thinner, so I don't know. I feel like you get a better knot with this. However, I don't know if I get it as tight or not. Okay, so this is just how I do it. It's probably not the right way, but this is just how I do it. I measure my string, and I always go a little bit more than 3 times the height of it. Okay, and sometimes I don't even cut it off from the spool until I'm done. But okay, so I go ahead and I try and keep this flat, but I put it down through the middle, and then I can look underneath at my cover bottom here, and I poke that in there. Okay, so then I pick it up, making sure not to poke myself here, trying to hold it there, and then I push that through. Okay. And you know what I think we're going to do? I think you can clip this in too. So maybe I will go ahead and clip that in, if I can do it with one hand now that I'm holding this up. I don't know if I'm going to run into a problem with if my bottom bottom one moved or not. I'm going to make sure this is lined up as well before I clip that, because I don't want to poke another hole in the bottom, if that makes sense. Okay, see how that moves now? That's what I'm trying to find where that hole is in the bottom of my cover, and it's just pivoting on the needle in the middle. So, okay, hold on guys. Here's where one of the purple words typically would probably come. I don't want to poke that needle out of there, but it's going to happen in the middle, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this one through, because that needle keeps pushing out. Okay, and you kind of got to wiggle it. Okay, got that through. So now we'll try this again. And I simply just want to get it in there so it's lined up. Okay, what happened here? Okay, so it's through there. I'm just going to kind of scooch my chair back here so I can see this. Okay, it's in there. So we're watching so I don't poke my fingers here. Okay, now I know I have that one in there and that one in there. And so what I'm going to do is, where did I put that thing? Okay, I have a couple of needles poked in there. I just want to make sure this one is also in there, and then I'm going to clip it. Okay, so trying again. I don't know if this is completely necessary, but I'm thinking if we had one more hand, it would be a lot easier. Okay, I got that through now. Finding that. Okay, so those are lined up. Now all three of them are lined up. And I'm trying to hold this flat without poking myself with one of these needles under here. Okay, now one-handed try and clip this. I'm going to flip those down. Now I'm going to carefully flip and add one more clip. One-handed, not so good here to get these open. I should have had that open. For me, it's a lot easier to clip in, or not clip in, to sew in a signature without a spine, but that's just because that's what I'm used to. This, the spines are kind of new to me. I was intimidated by them, so that's why I've never really used that method. Okay, so I have my strings. I'm going to leave those off the top, and now it is clipped in so where these holes should line up. So I'm going to flip it back over here, and my needle is through the middle. So I'm going to pull that thread, leaving some hang off here. And I'm just going to try and catch it under this clip. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but to hold that one for me, we'll see. Maybe not. Let's see if I can, just because I don't want to twist it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to flip that down. Okay, so now my thread is through the center, and now what I do is I come up from the bottom, so from the back in the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold this, find that hole in the bottom, in the back, and come through that. Okay, I'm going to pull that through. Okay, and then what I do is I go through the top. So again, when I got that all the way pulled through, I'm going to hold the top here and the cover with my hand. I'm going to pull that needle out of there, and hopefully it doesn't move, and I'm going to go right through there. Okay, so we have that. Or we almost have that. Okay, there we go. So pulling that, and I'm going to pull a little bit more because I don't want it doubled. So pull my tail through there, if you will. Find my needle again. Okay. And then what I do is I will flip it over now, and I come back up the center. And this is the one that I typically struggle with. You don't want to split your thread. So you try to get it in there, but next to the thread. You don't want to put your needle through the thread. Okay, now if we can get it through here. And we did. Okay, so now here is what I'm going to show you. This my tail here is going this way, so I want my needle to come up on this side of the thread. So I'm just going to pull it over there, okay? And let's see, now our needle and thread's got to come up the center. The end of my needle is a little big to get that wax thread in there. Okay, so then I got that. I'm going to pull it all the way through. Okay, and making sure that it's all the way through and not bubbled or buckled back there. Okay, so we have that. Now I take my needle off of the thread. And this part of it is typically where I would yell for one of my children to come here and I could use their finger, you know, to hold that, hold that down. But if I'm recording, there's no way they will even come close to me. So, and my son is the only one home right now, so he's not feeling the best today. So I give that a snug, you know, tug there and, you know, make sure the back is not bubbled or buckled or caught up on anything. So pull that, and then I wrap it around. Okay, I'm trying to pull this, and then I pull that really snug without ripping. You want to be careful you don't rip it through. Okay, so, and then I wrap it around again, and I'm right now wrapping the longer tail through this way. I'll do that direction twice, and I'll pull that, and then right here is where I come back with it. So before I was, you know, pulling the longer one through. Okay, now I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to do the opposite way. So I don't know if that makes a huge difference, but I just do, and then pull that. Okay, so I have that snug in there, and now I will trim my thread, leaving some hang on the bottom here, you know, just in case I want to put some dangles on there or something, and or tie a bow. And I think we'll just tie a bow on this one, or not dangles, charms, you know what I meant. So I'm just going to tie a bow on there. And this wax thread is a little thicker, so it does seem to grip on there. Okay, so now here's the test, and this happens to me where, let me get these clips and stuff out of there, move some of this stuff, where I'll take it out of here now and find out that it's not as tight as I would like it to be. And sometimes when I do have the quilted, that happens, so hopefully not. But I take all my clips off, and if it does happen, you just simply have to, I don't know, I cut the string and start over. Okay, so that's in there pretty good. Now I hold it up and fold it over, and what I do is I leave the one flat here, and I fold this over, kind of rolling the spine then up and pressing that down without ripping. You want to be very careful so that you don't rip it, you know, rip it through or whatever. So if you can see what I'm doing, I'm just kind of recreating that crease on my journal. And so this does happen, you know, and once it's decorated, it won't be, you know, where it pops open like that all the time. But so we have that sewn in there, and then I go like this here and kind of give it a shake, and it's pretty solid in there. So then we have that in there. So yeah, you can go through and, you know, a couple pages at a time, press them and just kind of get them used to that fold again. I'm not really sure why it does that for me, but it does. So I don't know if I try and pull too tight, or I don't know. But so there, then we have our signature in there, and we did it without any purple words. Grandmas are funny. Okay, so I'm going to put my needles back in there so I don't step on them or something. And then what I wanted to do in this video here is our cover. And I already have the stuff picked out that I wanted to do with it. I want this one to be very simple. If you remember, I had saved these little cutoffs from the edge of this and added some lace into there. And then I'm going to add some charms and stuff, and I'm going to put that on the spine. So I'm going to stick it back on there just to, and I probably will put some lace on this as well. Maybe we should do that before I put this on there. You wouldn't have to. You can leave this. And I do think it's really cute when people put buttons and different things, you know, on their signature strings. But I don't know if I want to cover that or not. I think I might leave it. I'm going to leave it on this one, I think. So just to see while we're decorating what it's going to feel like or look like. Get a feel for the look, I guess you could say. I'm going to just pin this back on there, even though it's not finished, just so we can see that on there. Okay, so make sure we have it the right way. We don't want to decorate the cover upside down now that we have it sewn in there. Okay, so I have some of this white lace here. Just making sure I have the right side, which I'm not too sure. Okay, so this way. And my idea was I just want to glue that on there. And I'm just going to use Fabri-Tac. You could stitch this on there as well. I'm not going to. I'm just going to glue it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to run some glue. Oof, my glue is icky. Just like one strip, just to hold that where I want it. We'll add some more to it, you know, when we're finished. But okay, so I'm going to put that on there. And then I had a little piece of this fabric. Isn't that pretty fabric? I thought it was really pretty, and the colors are perfect. And the feel of the journal to me is like traditional greens and fun, you know, bright Christmas colors and happy, you know. I mean, I guess Christmas is happy, but you know what I mean. So that I want on there. So I'm going to go ahead and add some Fabri-Tac on that. And I don't like when it bleeds through fabric, so I'm going to try and use my silicone brush here. But I'm going to lay this here to see and make sure I don't go too wide with it. Okay, I'm going to add some more on here. I'm not going to go too far to the end because we'll decide, I mean, we'll add more glue when we get that on there. So just taking my silicone brush here and just kind of smearing it out so I'm hoping that it doesn't bleed through my fabric. So it's still sticky, but not crazy wet, I guess you could say. Okay, so I want that on there. And I'm not sure, I think I was just going to use sari silk or something to tie around this for a closure, but I could have put it under here. I could have glued it under here and then just had it wrap around, but I think we'll just use a sari silk or something just tied around. Okay, so here's what I was meaning. Now we can come back and add some glue on the edge of this. Because we can see how high to go with it and stuff. Okay, so again, just using my silicone brush here to try and help it from the glue bleeding through. Okay, we can do the same thing here with the lace. And what I'm going to do now is behind this and the lace is where I'm going to glue that. So I just kind of roll that back up and put a line of glue the length of the fabric. Just kind of smearing that again. And then hold that down. Okay. Now the bottom here and the top, I'm just going to simply take and put a little tiny touch of it on my lace here and there. So I don't want it to seep through. And it did anyways, but you could just keep doing that, it'll come up. Doesn't have to be glued really a lot. It is behind the fabric and stuff glued better. So just so it doesn't get caught on things and stuff. And this here end can be loose, I'm okay with that. Okay. Then I have this. This is from a piece of a curtain or a tablecloth or something. And so I want to add that on there. And I'm going to center that in it, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So, and this here is the piece that I wanted to go on the top of that. And it's just a little card. It looks like cardstock, and I thought it was really cute. I'm going to move this up a little bit here, I think. I'm just playing around and see. And then I have this little 25 here. It's got a little, and I want to put that down there. And I don't think I'm going to ink it with vintage photo or anything. I think I'm just going to leave it as it is, because it's, you know, the white. So I think I like that. And we could put this on a bulb pin, maybe with something, hang it down here, but I think I'm just going to glue it on there. I think I do like it on there, just glued. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that on there. It's a really, really simple, easy cover, but I really like the look of it. So, okay, and we do have to glue this fabric here yet before I forget about that. Okay. Okay, glue. This one's all gunky, so grab another one here. You can peel it right off these, but I didn't do that before I had my glue down. Okay, so just gonna hold that for a second there. Let's see. Okay, we're just gonna add some, because the cardboard's gonna cover this, so I'm gonna put some in the middle here. Or not cardboard, the cardstock, the little Merry Christmas thing. So I'm okay if I get more on there. Okay, make sure we get that where we want it. Okay, oop. And now I'm going to add glue to the back of this. And again, I'm using Fabri-Tac because it's all gluing to fabric, so. Just smear this a little bit just so you can't feel the glue lines or see them. I'm going to glue that down. Just trying to eyeball that in the center. And then holding it for a second. Okay. So there's our cover. And I like it just simple like that. And I really like it. After this is glued down, then I'll come back and add a little bit of glue here and here. I'm not going to now because I don't want it to peel up here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you were able to see the process of how I sew the signature, and I hope it made sense. Yeah. And then we'll put some pockets in here and stuff. And I did go ahead and, I'm not doing all of this on camera, but I did go ahead, let me see if I can reach it here. And as I told you guys before, I have a box of stuff that I have to use or get rid of. And I have a bunch of my old Christmas stuff in there. And so I've been working just here and there between doing the other things on a couple pieces of ephemera. So I made this here little flippy pocket that'll go in on a page here. Let's see. So maybe on something like that's a little crazy and wild, but I do kind of like it. And then when you glue that down, you glue it on the two sides. You guys know all about this. And then it flips up and you have a journaling spot. And then this here big tag here, I just stenciled on the back of it. And that can tuck in behind there, and I think that's really cute. And this is all of the stuff in a paper pad that I haven't used, and so now I can keep it because I used it, part of it. So, and this here has a little pocket in there, and I just have a little sleigh tucked in there, or sled. And then this here is glued on, and it's a little pocket as well, so there's little tiny tags that were from some of my old ephemera in my stash. So I thought that was really cute to just pop in there. And then again, here I just did this little journaling card out of the paper pack, and I added some lace on Santa's little hat there. And so that will go in here somewhere too. But so every once in a while when I get a chance, I just want to make and add something to my pile for this journal. Okay, so there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you had a great weekend, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.